Hello and welcome. I have decided to show a little bit about model making I'm doing. I have chickens in my garden, so I do videos every now and then on their progress. And I decided to show a little bit about modeling. So these guys, they were completely white, as you can see, before I got to them. And I have used four different browns, two or three different greens. Some of them I've added a little bit of what looks like potential flowers to kind of realism for these bases, and a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red, because I have these little horses, and they once everything is done, they will be stuck on to the basis. And this is a small request I received from somebody. He kind of started on some of the horses, and a few of the Napoleon soldier era people. They are about 2 centimeters tall, so about 172 scale. This sprue I left on for the moment, so just so that I can hold on to them a little bit easier, because holding on to something that is only 2 centimeters tall is a little bit difficult to be holding, and well, you end up with a lot of paint on your fingers. Well, you're going to end up with paint on your fingers anyway when you do model making. That's just completely normal. And I'm going to put my phone down here for a second and prop it up a little bit so that it doesn't fall. I'll show some of the other bits that I was asked to do for this gentleman. Oops, sorry. There is always a lot of plastic when it comes to model making. Like, these guys would have come from different sets, not everything in one single set. And I have some these guys in these bags. They are Civil War era, so that would be 1861 to 1865. And they will be painted up as I go along. Now I have Napoleon era soldiers as well. A little bit difficult to see them when they're on my phone camera, so it can't focus very well. But yeah, loads of them. There's another bag. That bag is empty, so I'll put that over there. I don't need that. Lots more. So for now, I'm working on the horses. There's a couple of more people on this one. A bit more. And quite a few horses. Oh, again, I left some sprue on them so that I can have something to hold with, and that's just easier when I do my painting. Now I'm just waiting for my bases here to dry. They are pretty much dry already, so I don't need to wait very much longer. I do need to touch up a few of them on the edges around. So I'm just gonna very quickly paint around the edge so that there is no white edges that will show up when these are on whatever table he wants to put them on. A lot of people unfortunately are not able to do very much model making themselves. Sometimes, like, they might not have the time. Some of the people that come and ask me to do stuff for them, some of them don't have very good eyesight, or they might have trouble with using their hands, because a lot of people have problems like arthritis and other conditions that means that their hands isn't able to hold on to something that is this small. The scale of this is 172, so it's about 2 centimeters long. Well, because I've painted the edges, you can't, like, it's gonna be I'm not gonna paint them underneath because there's no point. Nobody's gonna be seeing underneath on the base. If some, like, people, if they do dioramas, they would be gluing these down anyway. So I don't see the point in painting underneath. Now, the reason why I have used loads of different colors on this is to add a little bit of kind of realism to it, so that it doesn't look too artificial, because a part of doing a modeling thing is to replicate something that you could see in real life. So it's good to kind of use different colors, because things are not ever just one single color. It's always good to try to use colors that you would see in real life, but do it in such a way that it's not gonna be super obvious that you've painted it. I'm gonna need a little bit more green. I really do like the AK interactive paints. I use the figure painting series. I use the air series, and I do also use the metallic series as well. Sometimes it just depends on what kind of goal I'm looking for. So this request that I'm working on here, I have been given a deadline to finish it by, so I do have to kind of get a bit of a move on with this one. I have about 30, well, it was 30 days yesterday, so no, today, yeah, 29 days left. I'm gonna try to finish this job by 10th of August, so I don't really have much time to do anything else. In between doing this work, I do also have to look after my baby chickens that I have. I have 8 females and 1 male that I've hatched at home, and I just got incredibly lucky with the ratio to females and males, because normally when you do your own hatching at home, if anyone is familiar with that kind of process, it's not very common to get that many females. But I did use a chicken to hatch the eggs. She sat on 10 eggs, but 1 unfortunately didn't make it, so I've ended up with 9 chickens. Previously I've only had 6, so a little bit more. But yeah, previously I've only done like point of lay chickens, so this time I decided to hatch my own, as kind of, because I wanted to experience what that entails and kind of learn from it, learn some new skills. I do really like to do different things to kind of learn skills that I've never really needed before. It's just really nice to kind of do something a little bit different. Sometimes you get tired, sit at home, you do nothing, and then it's good to find something to do. I started model making in 2019 in December. I got dragged to a model show and I did not want to be there. I didn't understand what was the point in doing models. It was like, I thought in a way it was a waste of money, a waste of time, like you could be doing something else instead. But then I realized after I saw everything in that model show that I was at, I found that it was nice to actually do something, learn some new skills and techniques, and I do go up and down the country now and then. I've been up to Wexford a few times because I decided to make my own model railway as well. So I actually have an N-scale Japanese layout that I'm working on. It's not finished. It's about kind of halfway. I do need to do quite a bit of building for Tokyo area. I just haven't gotten around to it, because when I get somebody asking me to do models for them, I kind of have to put my own stuff aside and work on their stuff instead. So yeah, I will be spending quite a lot of time on doing this, and I've just kind of it's a really fantastic hobby to have, and I can't believe how much I felt like it was a waste of time, but it's not. It's very therapeutic, it's very relaxing, I just sit down and chill out and do something creative, basically. But I'm gonna spend a little bit of time on doing these guys now, and they do look pretty realistic, I hope. At least I feel they do. No, so I am going to take them off the sprues and touch up the areas where the sprue was connected. Sometimes when doing models, the companies that make them, they like actually basically how it works is that it's injection molding most of it, and they will basically use liquid plastic and inject it into a mold of some sort. Different companies use different types of molds. That's a whole other topic that is for a different time, and probably best explained by somebody that knows a lot more about that than I do. But the way that it works, like they need to use some sort of lubricant to actually get the finished plastic forms out of the molds that they're in, and sometimes they will use something that leave a bit of oily residue on the models. So it's a good idea to use a little bit of soapy water to clean the parts before you start painting them, because if there is a residue on the pieces, the paint will kind of form little bubbles, kind of. It doesn't create an even layer. It basically creates areas where the paint has not stuck to at all, whereas other places it will stick to. So a little bit of soapy water, and then dry them off really well, and then you can add a primer. Some like most models that are kind of like bigger ones, I will use a bit of primer. Sometimes I will use a primer that you can brush on. Other times I will use something that is in a spray can. It just depends on what kind of finished look I am looking for. If it's a car or something that has really a really smooth surface and needs to be high gloss finish, I will use a spray can. And actually for cars I prefer to use car body paints, car body primers, so I can get them from somewhere like Halfords. Whereas if it's something small, depending on the type of plastic that was used, I might brush on a primer, or I might not even use a primer at all. It just kind of depends, situation based, of what kind of finish I need. But and like once these models are finished, I will be putting a sealant on them, and again based on the type of finish that I'm looking for. Sometimes I use a spray for that as well. I do have an airbrush. I could use an airbrush if I wanted to, and otherwise I will brush paint it, or use a spray can that has already been finished, mixed and ready to just go straight on. So yeah, it's a bit different for a woman, because this kind of hobby, unfortunately, most of the people doing it, they are male, and like I know a few people that are from give or take around 14-15 years old, and all the way up in their 70s, doing this hobby. Most of them are kind of, I think maybe between 40 and 60 maybe. It's a really nice community. You get to know a lot of people, and it's really good because you get to learn techniques from other people, techniques or ways of doing things that you might not necessarily have thought of yourself. So you really can learn new things, new ways of doing it. And actually, over the years, people started asking me to show them how I was doing doing the modeling from start to finish, picking out what kind of type of paints I wanted to use, the tools I use, like my trusty little snips. I love these. They are fantastic. It's is a more of a pricey one, because the quality of this one is quite good. I used to go for the really cheap ones, but for me, the cheap ones don't really last very long, and I do so many models that the clippers are kind of something that eventually will give in. I've lost track of how many models I've done since 2019 when I started. It's kind of crazy to think. I've actually lost completely track of how much I've done. But anything there's a model kit, I would love to do it. I've done a lot of boats. I love the sea and being on the sea, so for me to do a boat is just goes like bread and butter, really. I've done a lot of airplanes. I've done one tractor. My very first model kit was a tractor, and I've done, what else have I done? I've done a Saturn V rocket, including an Eagle, a moon landing base for Eagle, and I've done a Yamato, the flagship of Japan in World War II. I've done a Spitfire. I have done Black Pearls from Pirates of the Caribbean. That was my favourite kit to do. And on the Black Pearl, this type of paint that comes in this pot here, I used 3 of these to paint the whole ship. But like sometimes, it depends on the plastic. Sometimes the paint will just kind of soak into the plastic, and sometimes it will stay on the surface of it. And if it stays on the surface, you kind of have to seal it afterwards, because if you then scratch it, it will just come off. Yeah, right, let's see if I turn. My bases for the horses are done, and what I will do next is pair them up with the horses that I do have. This is all of the horses I have, and if they don't have a base, they will be standalone on their own, but most of them will be onto these little bases. And then after that, I will then start on the soldiers. I will do one type of soldier first, because then I can kind of focus on doing all of the one color all at the same time, and don't have to kind of open and close my pots too often, because I don't want my paints to dry out. But yeah, I'll show a little bit of progress as I go along. And yeah, for the next 29 days, hopefully sooner, I will be working on this collection. I do have another collection that I need to work on, about 3,000 soldiers and horses and carriages and cannons and a lot more. But so this collection that I'm working on here is the same as a previous collection that I'm working on, but this one has a shorter deadline on it. So I need to finish this one first and then I'll go back to the other one. Like sometimes I have to strip paints off things. Actually, one of these horses here, there was a coat of brown paint on it, but it was really kind of see-through. I have no idea what kind of paint he used, so I decided to strip the paint and then redo it. And I will be using AK paints, sometimes the figure paints. I have the metal collection. I have the AK interactive. Or I might use the Tamiya paints. Not necessarily this one itself, because it's not gonna fit too well with most of what I'm doing in this type of collection, but I have all the colors anyway, just in case, because you never know when you need a color. So I prefer to just have it and then it's ready for when I do need it. So there we go. I will work on this today, and I'll try my hand at doing a little bit of editing and things, but bear with me. I have never really done any videos of this type before, so we'll see how it goes. And yeah, hopefully see you again. Thanks for watching for now.